Roxo Media House.
And this one angled to the right, returnable for Davis. Grabs it at the 19, return to the right. Here he comes with blockers. Up across the 20, to the 25-yard line, to the 30, turns the corner at the 40, to midfield, picking his way to the 40, cuts it back at the 30, to the 20, to the 10, 82-yard punt return. Welcome to Fort Worth, Texas Tech.
You are
TCU
in the State of the Frogs, presented by the Railhead Smokehouse with TCU head coach Sonny Dykes. And also brought to you by Hub Fort Worth, Old Trapper Beef Jerky, Texas Health Resources, and by Cadillac. Now with the coach, here is the voice of the Frogs, Brian Estridge.
Welcome into this week's edition of State of the Frogs with the head coach Sonny Dykes. We come to you live from his office here. The Frogs coming off the 10-point victory over Texas Tech to go to 9-0 on the season. 34-24 the final score. Hard-fought game, by the way, from start to finish. You had warned us that it was going to be that with the Red Raiders.
Yeah, they've got a good football team. A lot of talent on that team, especially defensively, and tons of experience. So we felt like going into the game that their defensive front was one of the better fronts we were going to face this season. I think it played out that way, and we had to keep chipping away. And fortunately for us, we played well in the second half and got the game into the fourth quarter and had a chance to win and started to wear them down a little bit, which has kind of been the constant theme for us. But that's a good football team. They've got a bunch of playmakers on offense, got some really good young quarterback, and they can definitely score some points, and they're a tough team to beat.
The other thing you had warned us about was how quickly they would play, and I kind of heard you, but I didn't realize how fast they would play when the freshman was out there, maybe quicker than the other two as well.
Yeah, I think they tried to do it a little bit early. It's funny, they didn't play at the pace that they normally play at. I think they wanted to slow the game down a little bit, my guess is, because they just didn't want to put their defense in too bad of a position. But, yeah, when they got rolling, when they made a couple of first downs, they're going fast. And they got us on our heels once or twice. And, the first touchdown of the game, we busted a coverage as a result of a lack of communication that probably occurred because of the speed they were playing at. And so, when things like that happen, it does put a lot of pressure on you defensively.
We're going to talk some specifics here, but first off, I feel like we owe it to this crowd to talk about the turnout on Saturday for this ball game. Another full house for you, and it was a great atmosphere.
It was, yeah. Fans have been fantastic this year, and students in particular. It's just it's a great atmosphere. It really is. It's a fun place to have a chance to coach. I know it energizes our players, and the great thing about the crowd is they know when to cheer. They're a smart crowd, and it got loud in some critical situations in the game, and we always feel like it makes a difference.
All right, let's talk about some specifics, one of which has to be Kendra Miller. Kendra is a guy who has continued to get stronger and stronger. It feels like one of those backs, we talked about it, that gets better as the game goes on. Another 100-yard rushing effort for him. Kendra's now, if you think about it, he's got 6 of his last 7 games over 100 yards, over 1,000 yards on the year now.
Yeah, like we said over and over, Kendra gets better as the game goes, and the offensive line seems to start to wear them down a little bit. And, running the football was tough early in the game. I think we only averaged like 3.7 maybe in the first half, and average got a lot better. And, in the fourth quarter, we got to the point where, when we were handing it off, we were getting 8, 10, 12 yards of handoff. And again, there's a lot of people that deserve the credit. It starts up front with the offensive line, but Kendra just finishes runs so well. He's so strong. He's got great balance. He's just playing really, really good football right now, and he loves getting the ball in the fourth quarter, and he loves playing physical and finishing runs, and that touchdown run he made at the end of the game. Wow. That was you got to see his strength and his competitive nature on that one for sure.
Your first 9 possessions, you were battling the field position game, essentially. I think the average starting field position was like the 18. Your best was the 31-yard line. That was, and it felt like it was hard to get out of that rhythm those first 9 possessions.
Yeah, it did seem for whatever reason we were backed up a bunch, and that's just kind of the way that game went. And we didn't help ourselves out. We had a couple of 3-and-outs, and we've got to be able to get the ball going forward and get off to a better start than we did, and was a little bit frustrated with that. But again, once our guys settled in, we played better.
And then the last 4 possessions of the game, though, the worst starting field position was the Tech 45. So you benefited from that.
Yeah, the tide changed that way, and got into the second half and started getting some stops defensively, and as you said, the field position flipped, and we were able to score have some short touchdown drives and score some touchdowns.
Give me your assessment of Max's play in this ball game. It felt like it took him a little while to get into rhythm too.
Yeah, I thought he played okay. I thought it was, I think he probably was a little bit banged up, coming off the game last week, and didn't have probably his best week of practice. He was kind of nursing a little bit of an injury, but you know, it was typical Max Duggan football. I mean, he played really, really hard. You know, was a great leader when our team needed him. You know, the probably statistics weren't as good as they have been, but he made all the plays that you want a quarterback to make in the critical situations.
Well, in the critical situations, in the fourth quarter, he goes 4 for 4, 57 yards. 2 of those 4 passes were touchdowns.
Yeah, you can see it. I mean, 2 big throws, you know, in a critical part of the game, and you know, we needed those touchdowns to help get some separation. And you know, wish we could have finished that last drive better. They stopped us on a 4th down. You know, there's a couple of decisions I made early in the game. We went for it one time on a 4th and 4. We probably should have kicked a field goal, but we just felt like it was going to be one of those games where Texas Tech was going to keep going for it, and so, you know, touchdowns were going to be of the premium. And as I said, going back and looking, we wish we probably kicked a field goal there. But you know, but the thing that I like about this group is they figure out a way to win. I mean, they've done it a bunch of different ways. Our defense seems to really get settled in the second half, and our guys continue to take care of the ball offensively, and that just allows us to, you know, to score points. And our offensive line seems to really get stronger as the game goes on.
All right, 9-0 for the first time since 2010. Let's take a look at how this one started for the Horned Frogs. Get on the scoreboard first, and it didn't take very long. 3 and out, you force a punt, and it's Darius Davis for his 5th punt return of his career for a touchdown.
Yeah, we made a couple of adjustments in some of the ways that we blocked, and thought it really paid off for us. We're trying to give Darius a little bit more space to field the ball. We obviously had a problem with West Virginia with some of that, and so we were trying to be a little bit more aggressive in our blocking, get locked up on the guys a little sooner, allow Darius to get started, because he's one of those guys, if you can get him started, he's going to be able to find a place to run. And you know, what I was impressed with on this particular play was we had 3 different opportunities to block somebody in the back. Yep. And our guys were really smart and very disciplined and didn't do it, and shielded all 3 of them, and allowed Darius to get going. And once he gets going, man, he's tough to tackle.
They looked like great rebounders that Jamie Dixon could use this week. I mean, the way they held their hands up in the air like that, you know, and it was perfect.
Yeah. I mean, it was good. I mean, those guys made some really smart plays, and you know, like I said, there's plenty of opportunities for crackback blocks, for blocks in the back and stuff once you kind of start to hit the curve on a punt return. And so guys have to be disciplined and make good decisions, and they did.
All right, Tech answers here with a long touchdown pass from Morton to Bradley. Bradley's a big target there, 47-yarder here.
Yeah, he is. This is that coverage I alluded to earlier where we didn't communicate particularly well. We're supposed to be in man, and we just cut a guy in the middle of the field loose. And so it's one of those things you can't do. You can't make those mistakes. And felt like early in that game we made some uncharacteristic mistakes. We busted a couple of routes, which we haven't done this year very often, and this was an example of a busted coverage. So those are the things we got to get fixed, and we can't do that against Texas this week. 2
teams trade field goals. Then Griffin Kale puts you up 13-10 before the half there. Griffin banked a 40-yarder, then came back with a 30-yarder. He's been consistent.
He has, yeah. He has been very consistent. He's kicking with a lot of confidence, and we have a lot of confidence in his ability to go out there and make kicks. So that's a big thing when you really believe in your kicker and the players believe in him. And you know, we're not huge on field goals. You know, we always prefer scoring touchdowns, but field goals are really, really important, and he's been a huge part of our success.
All right, come back in the second half here, a couple of possessions, and then Texas Tech gets on the scoreboard. Another big target, Sparkman on this receiving end this time.
Yeah, heck of a play here. I mean, you can't cover it much better than this, and just one of those deals where sometimes they make a play, and you know, and you got to give them credit for doing that. I thought in the second half in particular, our guys were in really good position to make plays and make them earn everything they got.
All right, you get retake the lead on this Kendra Miller 2-yard run. You were talking about the late score. I mean, this is Kendra too. This guy just being very physical.
It is, yeah. He just finishes runs. He's got a great leg drive. Never stops. I mean, just has a real nose for getting in the end zone. I mean, he scored a touchdown in a bunch of games consecutively now, and he just does a great job of knowing where to get to and finding a way to get in the end zone.
Start to pull away a little bit here. I thought this was a great route by Darius. Good throw, too, from Max to find Darius Davis's 23-yarder.
Yeah, I got a little forward vertical concept here, and Darius did a great job finding the hole and settling in there, and Max did a good job of throwing him open. And you know, when Darius gets his hands on the ball, he can find a way to get it in the end zone. He did here.
That was similar to a pass early in the ball game, right on the opening drive, where it just comes off the hands of Darius.
Yeah, it's very similar. Yeah, kind of the same concept, a different formation in this case, but yeah, it was you know, we felt like we were going to be able to throw the ball underneath. The safeties sometimes got deep, and we felt like we could work the middle of the field and had some success working in there.
Speaking of good routes, you're up 10 at this point. Then you find Amari DiMaccardo for this 16-yard. I love this play design right here.
Yeah, this is a big play in the game. I think this was, you know, huge for us to have a chance to go up 17, and heck of a throw by Max. You know, had to be a little patient. His first read wasn't open. We were trying to hit the wire coming across, and he had to kind of get settled in and wait for Amari to get there, and he did a great job of doing it. Nice throw, nice catch, good route, and as you said, good design on the play. And you know, at that point, I think we finally felt good going up 17, and it was a big play in the game.
They get a touchdown late with about 1:48 to go, as Shuck is in at quarterback at this point in the second half. Back to the Amari DeMarcado. There's a guy, you talk about versatile. He can run it. He's a terrific blocker for you as a running back. And then out of the backfield as a receiver is a real weapon, too.
Yeah, he catches the ball really well, and you know, he really has a good ability to track the ball. Sometimes running backs have some difficulty tracking the ball, and Amari just sees the ball come out of the quarterback's hand and really does a nice job of tracking it and making plays on it. So he's got a little bit of natural instincts when it comes to catching the ball.
34-24, the final. Horned Frogs with a 10-point victory. I want to talk about two other individuals real quick on defense, Coach. Shadrack Banks had to come in for D. Winters, and I thought Shad played a pretty good game.
Shad played great. Yeah. That was Shad's first real extended play, and really, really played well. I was glad to see him come in. You know, he's been working hard. He's learning that position. You know, linebacker is a very difficult position to learn how to play, just because there's so much instincts. The great ones have great instincts. They kind of know where the ball is, and Shad's learning that. And Shad's a great athlete, can run. He's big, he's strong, he's physical. And so he's really starting to learn the position, and I think he's got a real bright future.
And then Millard Bradford as well. Coming back from the injury, had 5 tackles for him.
Yeah, it's good to get him back. I think we're finally starting to get healthy on the back end. With our safeties, it seems like there's been somebody out, you know, pretty much since the first or second week of the season. So now we're starting to get that group back, and they've got a lot of depth. And when we can roll those guys and keep them fresh, that can be a really good group for us.
And by the way, this defense with, I guess there were 3 fourth-down attempts in that fourth quarter by Tech, and you held them on all 3.
Yeah, we gave up a couple early, and you know, and you got to give Texas Tech credit. They made some plays early, and you know, I thought our defense really answered the bell in the second half, though. As you said, you know, getting off the field, gave the offense a couple of short fields, allowed us to pull away. And I thought overall our defense really played well. I thought that was one of our best performances this year against a really explosive Texas Tech team.
Yeah, that Tech team, I think, failed on their last 11 third downs. That tells you how your defense was on third down.
We did. We really competed hard in the second half, and in particular in the fourth quarter, and just liked the way the guys played. I mean, they're playing with a lot of confidence, and it's kind of like we said all along. It seems like we just get more physical, particularly up front. The pass rush gets more effective as the game goes on, and we were able to pressure their quarterbacks and keep them off rhythm.
All right, Frogs with that 10-point victory go to 9-0 for the first time since 2010. We're going to talk about Texas a little bit later on when the head coach returns with State of the Frogs here with Sonny Dykes after this timeout.
The Hub Fort Worth family is a passionate, energetic team of insurance professionals that have the same common goal in mind: helping businesses and individuals protect their health, property, and financial well-being. Their objective is to maximize the options available to businesses, families, and individuals while helping you make the choices that suit each unique situation and challenge. Their clients look to them for guidance in navigating the cumbersome world of insurance and investments. Their experience and personal relationships combined with their creativity enables them to craft solutions that fit your specific circumstances. Their guiding principle is, don't tell me how much you know, just show me how much you care. Since their founding in 1966, they've enhanced their offerings to include a comprehensive range of services, including employee benefits, property and casualty, and personal lines insurance. Follow them and learn more on their social media pages. You can find them on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Hub Fort Worth.
Old Trapper Beefs. One-upping.
I'm a big Old Trapper fan. Not bigger than me. I love Old Trapper. I love how tender it is. Don't forget the wood smoke flavor.
What about the clear bag?
That shows you exactly what you're getting.
Savory beef.
Quality ingredients. I'm their biggest fan.
Old Trapper, what's your beef? The official beef jerky of the Big 12.
Will you sign my bag and my tattoo?
For exclusive interviews and content on TCU recruits, subscribe now at frogstoday.com. Any sport, anytime. It's your source for all things TCU. Only on frogstoday.com. Welcome back into State of the Frogs. It's time for our What's Your Beef question of the week, brought to us by our friends at Old Trapper. And we get your question right now, Coach. Let's listen in.
So my question for Sonny Dykes is, how does he handle the pressure as a first-year coach being undefeated for the first time in over 10 years?
Tony there says, what's it like handling this pressure first year here at TCU, obviously?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's obviously a lot going on.
Yeah.
Lot of different aspects to the job. I think the great thing about it is when you got confidence in your staff, which we do, and confidence in your players, which we do, that takes a lot of pressure off the head coach. You feel like that everybody's pulling their own weight, everybody's working hard, everybody's unified in your vision. And so, you know, it's really not that much pressure when you have that situation and you feel like that the guys are really dialed in and paying attention to the details and the small things that make a difference. So if we continue to do those things and the guys keep working like they are and our staff keeps doing the great job they're doing, it's going to make my life a whole lot easier.
There's a lot of most important things to being a head coach, like recruiting might be most important, X and O's might be whatever. You could go down the list, but hiring good coaches might be the most important thing.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that we talk about all the time in our program is kind of the 3 pillars of success that we believe in. You know, it's talent acquisition, and that's not only players, but that's coaches, that's people, you know, in the weight room, that's training staff, that's social media people. It's all the people that have an impact on your program, and then player development. And so those things are critical. And again, we feel like we've got the best strength and conditioning coach. Feel like we've got some of the best football coaches in the country. And when you pair those things together, then you're going to have some success.
All right, that's your What's Your Beef question of the week from our friends at Old Trapper. We'll do our one-play breakdown with Coach David Bowden. It's coming your way next after this timeout.
Old Trapper Beefs. One-upping.
I'm a big Old Trapper fan. Not bigger than me. I love Old Trapper. I love how tender it is. Don't forget the wood smoke flavor.
What about the clear bag?
That shows you exactly what you're getting.
Savory beef.
Quality ingredients. I'm their biggest fan. I'm their
Old Trapper, what's your beef? The official beef jerky of the Big 12.
Will you sign my bag and my tattoo?
Simply the best barbecue in Fort Worth. Dine in, catering, or drive-through. 2900 Montgomery, just off I-30. Remember, the best barbecue in Fort Worth is at Railhead Smokehouse.
The Flying T Club provides the everyday TCU fan and alum the ability to specifically support TCU student athletes. Flying T Club offers 3 levels of memberships. The Flying T Club is a nonprofit organization supporting the brand development of TCU student athletes through a series of unique event-based networking opportunities, which are exclusive to our members. These events provide a great social engagement tool for our members and student athletes alike. Follow them on Instagram at Flying T Club or online at flyingtclub.com.
Texas-based Happy Water offers the best-tasting, sugar-free kids drink ever made. Happy Water comes in 4 delicious flavors that you can find at local retailers and on Amazon. Each pouch contains 0 grams of sugar, 0 calories, and 0% juice. Head to happydrinks.com for more information and to purchase Happy Water. That's HAPI drinks.com. Live happy, be happy, drink happy.
Back we come on State of the Frogs with the head coach, Sonny Dykes. Time for our one-play breakdown right now. And for that, we turn back to the Flying T Club studios where Coach David Bowden is standing by. I'm going to make you talk about this punt return, Coach. But what a return by Darius Davis. But there's a lot that went into this, right? 19, return to the right. Here he comes with blockers up across the 20 to the 25-yard line to the 30. Turns the corner at the 40 to midfield. Picking his way to the 40. Cuts it back at the 30 to the 20 to the 10. 82-yard punt return. Welcome to Fort Worth, Texas Tech. TCU leads at 6.
Yeah, they certainly had this one set up from the beginning. It was going to be a return the whole way. So Darius Davis back here, who this was his 5th punt return for a touchdown, a school record for his career, and he also has 6 special teams touchdowns total, which ties Kavontae Turpin as well. And so They wanted to get the ball in the hands and give him some space. That's all he needs is a little bit of room. They know that, so they want to set up the return. They wanted to hold these guys up from the beginning. So they're going to hold up everybody on the front line and then sort of play man-to-man, much like you do as a cornerback in press-man technique. It's pretty much the same sort of technique. So you see DeArco Perkins McAllister here. He locks him up, does a great job of riding him all the way down the line of scrimmage. So then as soon as he releases, he finally releases here, DeArco comes back here and blocks the same person. So he kind of blocks him twice in 2 different spots. It was a great job by him and really a full understanding by the entire unit to say once they get in trail technique, not to block behind the back. And a lot of times as that punt return turns the corner, you can get that blind side block, that crack back. TCU's done a really nice job of running that hip by. We've talked about that before where they'll rip this inside arm and sort of box them out like in basketball. They had 3 different guys, players do that in this one return beautifully, including Chase Curtis, who also did this on Darius Davis' punt return. If you remember back in Colorado, he did use the same technique to perfection. And so they did a great job there. They ran man-to-man. Texas Tech tried to get this guy sort of crossed so they could cross here and sort of set a pick, Brian, but it wasn't enough, and they had no contain. And so, you know, as soon as Darius Davis turned the corner, really he was untouched from that point.
Well, a great scheme drawn up there by Mark Tomerdahl, the special teams coordinator. And give me some sense as to what Tech was trying to do here, because it looked like he played right into TCU's hands. Yeah, Texas Tech wanted to directional kick this, and you could tell from the start. So the ball was on the hash here. This is the boundary again. This is the wide side of the hash. They snapped it at an angle to give the punter an advantage to try and get the ball pinned back here. But it got hung up. It was a beautiful punt, but, you know, the quintessential out-kick your coverage, that happened here. The other problem is on this switch, he's supposed to be the contain guy, so he should stay outside the hash. For Texas Tech, this player came here, but then he went inside the hash mark, which able to get Darius Davis around the corner when these guys threw the shield. Another really smart thing is TCU had these 3 backers back for a second layer of protection to get Darius, to spring Darius Davis to the edge. So you had 2 rushers. These guys held up. We set this one up, and everybody converged on the ball, which left this wide side of the field wide open. Another touchdown, for Darius Davis, and really set the tone for this game, and was able, to give the Frogs a chance to start fast. All right, Coach David Bowden there with our one-play breakdown this week. Let's preview the Frogs and the Texas Longhorns. That's happening on Saturday night at 6:30 in Austin. The head coach rejoins us when State of the Frogs with Sonny Dykes continues in a moment.
Simply the best barbecue in Fort Worth. Dine-in, catering, or drive-through. 2900 Montgomery, just off I-30. Remember, the best barbecue in Fort Worth is at Railhead Smokehouse. Say hello to the water of tomorrow. Richard's Rainwater. Richard's Rainwater is 100% rain, refreshing, renewable, and the only ingredient we use in our water. Why rain? Because everyone deserves access to clean water, and rain is a 100% renewable resource available everywhere. Drink the rain. Save the planet. Shop now at richardsrainwater.com.
Old Trapper Beefs. One-upping.
I'm a big Old Trapper fan. Not bigger than me. I love Old Trapper. I love how tender it is. Don't forget the wood smoke flavor.
What about the clear bag?
That shows you exactly what you're getting.
Savory beef.
Quality ingredients. I'm their biggest fan. I'm their
Old Trapper, what's your beef? The official beef jerky of the Big 12.
Will you sign my bag and my tattoo?
State of the Frogs continues now one more time with the head coach Sonny Dykes here from his office. All right, let's turn our attention to the Texas Longhorns. 6-3 on the year, still in the hunt for the Big 12 championship game, obviously. Steve Sarkisian sort of settling in there as the head coach. This is a talented football team, isn't it?
Yeah, very talented team. Typical Texas team. I mean, a bunch of top 10 recruiting classes, really top 5, I think, and some real special talent in some key positions. Obviously, running backs. They've got 2, I think, of the best running backs in college football. Got a young quarterback, but really talented. Got great speed at wide receiver. A huge offensive line that's really starting to develop and come along. And then defensively, just a ton of experience. You got a lot of guys that have played a lot of football for him on defense, and good speed. And it all begins up front with those guys, and they got a good defensive front.
Yeah, sitting at 4-2 in the league. The one thing that's interesting about they start fast. This offense does. Obviously, as you mentioned, they got a lot of weapons to do it with, though.
Yeah, they do. It seems like every week you look up and it's they got 31 points in the first half, and they're playing with a 2 or 3 score lead, and so it's going to be important for us to get off to a good start, and to make sure that we do a good job early in the game of adjusting. They come out, they always have a couple of new wrinkles for you offensively, and and same thing on defense. And so we've got to just get settled in more quickly than we have the last couple of weeks, and start playing from the very beginning.
Quinn Ewers, that quarterback you mentioned out of Southlake, looks like he's kind of settled in, obviously, into that role as well, and a little better grasp of the offense now over the last couple of
you're
weeks.
starting to see a little bit more confident. Quinn Ewers, I think, a better decision maker, probably not as risky with the ball maybe as he was early on. And I think, again, a big part of that is knowing that they can turn it on and hand it off to Bijan, and he can, finish runs. I mean, he's really, really talented. I mean, he's a strong guy, great catcher of the football, really good in the open field. But his greatest strength is really his ability to finish and run through tackles, and he does such a great job of doing that.
He is physical back there. Xavier Worthy, the wide receiver as well, 40 catches on the year.
Yeah, great speed, good size. But his deal's speed. I mean, he's going to be their deep threat. They're going to try to take some shots with him early in the game for sure. They do a nice job of being creative and figuring out some good matchups and a way to get them isolated on some guys, and he can go get the football. That's what he does well. And you look at Ewers has got a big arm. He can spread it around to a bunch of different guys. Throws a really good deep ball, and so we've got to be prepared for that.
It will be a full house. We know that. Game day is going to be there. Everything you want, kind of the eyes of the nation on you on ABC on a Saturday night. Isn't this kind of why you do it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is you want to coach in games like this. I mean, and I know our players want to play in these kind of games, and it's not free to get that chance to do this. I mean, you have to pay in. You have to have success. You got to do the things to give yourself this kind of platform, and our guys will be prepared, and they'll go out and play hard on Saturday, and I think we'll play with a lot of confidence. And so I'm excited about it. It's going to be a big challenge for us. I mean, it's a really, really talented football team, and like you said, it'll be a great environment, huge stadium, all that stuff. But our guys have a great mentality, and I think they're excited about the challenge.
The road to undefeated is never easy, right?
No. I mean, it's hard. That's why there's only 4 of us left in college football now, and it's because it's hard. It's hard to win every game, but the thing that our guys have done such a good job of is not looking at the enormity of it, just taking it week by week. And it's a lot easier when you can just say, hey, look, we just got to win a game this week, as opposed to saying we got to win 10 in a row. And so I think our guys have done a really good job of taking that approach and just knowing that, hey, look, if we prepare well, then we're going to go play well on Saturday. And if we play well, that's going to be good enough to get a win.
All right, Coach. Thanks for the time. Best of luck.
Okay, appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me.
Sonny Dykes, head coach of the Horned Frogs. As we leave you here on this edition of State of the Frogs, let's look back to that win against Texas Tech. Some sights and sounds from Amon Carter Stadium, this football palace right outside of Sonny Dykes' office. Here's what it looked like last Saturday in Fort Worth.
Give them hell, TCU. Let's go Frogs! Let's go Frogs, baby! Take his game.
Roxo Media House.